Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate agent Matthew Schanche of Keller Williams Realty based out of Beverly Hills, California. In his years working in high-end residential real estate, Matthew has earned a sterling reputation in the art of satisfying high-net-worth clients. He personally closed over $60 million in real estate transactions in 2014 and procured over $115 million in listings in 2015. He recently sold his boutique real estate company, the S Group, to the Orange County-based real estate group KASE. This merger of two power brokers now offers offices in Laguna Beach, Long Beach, and Beverly Hills with aggressive expansion ongoing throughout California. His integration of technology streamlines the real estate process, and his analytical background allows him to create opportunities for his clients that make them exceptionally successful in their real estate goals. All right, with all that said, Matthew, welcome to the show.
Hey, Keith, thanks so much for having me.
Hey, Matthew, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
You know, it's funny, I had no idea I wanted to be in real estate. In fact, when I was younger from Champaign, Illinois, I had to work for a real estate company that both bought and sold and managed properties for people. And in that job, I had to go clean out the apartments when people were done, and we lived in the college town. So it was nasty. But about 10 years ago, I graduated from Illinois State University, and I saw a silly show called the very first season, keep in mind, the very first season of $1 Million Listing with Chris Cortazzo and Madison Hildebrand and a couple other characters. And so, you know, I saw that, and I saw these checks these guys were making, and I said to myself, well, if they could do it, I could do it. And there's nothing standing between me and what I want other than me just taking the chance to do it. So I packed up my stuff. I moved to Los Angeles. I slept on friends' couches, and I joined Coldwell Banker, and then, you know, that's what got me into it.
Excellent. And can you talk a little bit about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success that you've had in real estate?
Yeah, I think, you know, I do a lot of hiring of new agents. My real estate company, KASE, K-A-S-E, out of Beverly Hills, we focus on finding attributes and personality types that we think lend themselves to be successful. And communication, by far, is the number one most important attribute that an individual can have to not only jumpstart their career, but create relationships that sustain a career. And what I mean by communication is the ability to listen and understand people's perspectives first, to have an open mind to what people are trying to accomplish, and to not be too quick to not know something or to know something, but to just simply listen and observe. And then from there, communicate in a way back that both allows them to understand that you know what they want, and to be able to clearly communicate how you can help them accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. The second attribute is you have to really want to be in business for yourself. You can't be in this to make money. Money is a byproduct of doing something well for somebody else. And if you don't have the drive to wake up at 7, 6, and be on the phones and working by 8 a.m., then maybe this isn't the right business for you, because it's not easy. So somebody who comes with an internal passion to want to be successful, and to be successful through helping others accomplish their goal and not the sheer monetary end part of it. And the last thing we really look for in somebody is accountability. Somebody who's willing to be accountable to themselves and to be accountable to the people around them, so that way when they do experience some success, which if you hold the first two attributes, you probably will, but to be accountable through those first two traits and through some success to show that you want to sustain this and you're not in for the quick buck and to get out. And we find that if you hold those three attributes, you are very likely to become successful in real estate.
And Matthew, do you think you could give our listeners an example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Well, I think it's a perfect example is my story. I mean, I grew up in a small town surrounded by cornfields, and I move out to Los Angeles and get into a price point with a high net worth clientele that has transacted with me regularly, consistently, and will continue to do so. And the way that those three traits, the way I've been able to communicate, the way I've been able to, come in and be hungry and to be resilient in my efforts, and then to be accountable for my own success and for the success of others around me, is what has brought me out into a successful position in real estate out here. And so for those listeners out there who are thinking to themselves, is this something I want to get into? If you don't feel excited about that, like I felt excited, propelled to move across the country without knowing anybody or ever visiting Los Angeles, if you're not compelled to do that, then find something that does compel you to feel that way and continue with that. But those attributes directly contributed to me even being in this situation and having this conversation with you, Keith.
And obviously, Matthew, whenever somebody builds success, usually they have, trials along the way. There's bumps in the road. Obviously, you picked up and moved across the country to kind of even go into real estate. Can you talk a little bit about some of the adversities and trials that you had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Yeah, how long do we have?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that have gotten in the way that has allowed me to build character and stay humble as much as possible through this process. And one of those things when you're first getting started is, how do I invest my time and how do I invest whatever money or resources I have? Because there's so many places that can pull you away from both your money and your time, whether it's running around with bad clients or investing in a certain agent profile online that charges you a ridiculous amount of money, but you're not getting any return. You really, for me, when I started, I had a tough time identifying where to spend those two categories, time and money. And if I were to give a recommendation to people listening about how to mitigate some of those issues, is the first thing is in regards to your time. Find somebody you want to be like in your local real estate community. Identify that person and what about them makes you want to aspire to be like that. And do whatever you can to get a meeting with that person. Now, the good thing about real estate agents is they're very accessible. You can pretty much get a meeting with anybody if you have enough determination to do it. So identify who that person is and work like heck to work with them, for them, in turn, whatever. Surround yourself with the success you want to be like. And when it comes to money, there are basic things that you're going to need to prepare for, and that is your real estate association dues, your initial business cards, maybe some letterhead, some basic essentials. But then from there, every penny should be spent directly toward lead generation. You need to be able to either have a call service that calls 3 people at a time, or identifies expired listings and sends you the printout with their information. You need to identify every place you can to generate leads. And outside of that, agent promotion is relatively secondary, because without leads, you're going to run out of money and you're going to be out of business in 6 months.
Excellent. And Matthew, as you hit the obstacles, as these things come, as they continue to come up, what kept you going despite these obstacles? Why didn't you give up? What was your driving force?
Well, it kind of goes back to those 3 attributes. Is I had the fire. I still do. I want to succeed. I have my own goals. I have my own things I want to accomplish with my life while I'm here. And there are going to be obstacles, challenges, anything that someone wants to accomplish at a high level. You can expect there to be great challenges. And I'm grateful for those challenges, because nobody reads a great success story, a book, and you read it all the way through, and it's like, oh, well, he was really good at it, and everything went perfect, and everybody loved him, story over. That's kind of boring. The character, the excitement, it comes from overcoming the challenges along the way, because when you get there, you're going to look back and look on these as the fun times, the struggles, being able to go through that and persevere. And so that has to come from within, and especially come from a belief within yourself that you're worth having the dreams that you want, that you're good enough to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So when those things come at you, you have the ability to overcome them and believe you can overcome them. Support structure around you is super important, having people that you love and that love you, and to lean on those people and let them know that they can lean on you. Because without support structure, without other people, like I would be a homeless man without other people, no matter how talented or good, or how much ability that I have. I couldn't do it without other people. So the drive internally and the support structure around me is what allowed me to persevere through the challenges that I faced.
Excellent. And Matthew, I guess kind of looking forward, what's your vision for your career and your business over the next 5 years?
Well, I'm a bit of a big thinker, a bit aggressive, but I believe in it when I say it. But the group that I have merged my smaller boutique real estate group with, I formerly owned a group called the S Group, and we have recently merged with KASE Real Estate out of Laguna to form a very powerful team. And we have the goal of becoming the #1 real estate sales team in the world. We have looked at the numbers, and we have closed to this year $118 million year to date, a little bit over. I think those numbers are through June. And I think with the right focus and the right hiring, we will get there within about 4 to 5 years. Without a doubt in my mind, at least top 5. But if we're creeping towards top 5, you can bet that I'm going to make sure we get to that #1 spot.
Excellent. I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way that you market yourself as a real estate professional so you can have continual growth?
I think there's 2 ways that if you're just going to boil it down to, okay, what 2 ways? Because there's a lot of ways to attack that question. But if I had to boil it down to 2 key essentials, is 1, keep in touch with the places you want to work. So we call them farms. I don't know if other communities call them different things, but real estate agents pick a particular area as the place they want to market the most. So pick your farm, or 2, and make a commitment to sending market updates to those people every week for the next year. And if as you have business and hopefully you receive a return from doing stuff like that, and you start getting new listings, you can send it out like as a just listed or just sold. You can mix it up a little bit, but be consistent in what you send people every week or every month in terms of a market update, and allow them to gain value out of what they want to know the most, which is they want to know how much their house is worth and what's going on in the neighborhood. So provide them with that information. And then second, be really involved in your community. Get involved, at your children's school. Sponsor a race, or do something to connect with people within your community, because that's ultimately the place that you're serving. If I had stayed in my hometown of Champaign, Illinois, I would have spent, my career would be a little bit different in terms of I know everybody. I'm comfortable there. I've been on these streets for, 30 years or so. And it's important for people who are in their communities like that still to use that to your advantage, to leverage your relationships to not only better your community, but to create relationships where people trust you and know that you are doing things to help and not just in it for, because either you think it's easy or you're going to make a lot of money. If you do those 2 things, the market updates to your farms and do active within your community and creating relationships that way, I think you can have sustained success from that.
Excellent. And Matthew, I think that sometimes when the general public looks at real estate agents, I don't think they really understand everything that you do, everything you bring to the table from both a buyer and a seller standpoint. So what do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. There's a lot of things that people attribute to real estate agents. I've heard us even rank just like 1 or 2 above used car salesmen before. So, there's a lot of preconceptions out there about what real estate agents do and don't do. I think the paradigm has changed quite a bit in terms of the access of information that people have now. In terms of searching for properties and doing research on properties, it's almost as if they have as much information as the agents do. So as that happens, agents are, I see, at least in my territory, agents are transforming. We're becoming more sophisticated in both our marketing techniques, our lead generation techniques, which ultimately help our buyers and sellers, and our ability to create a very clean paperwork transfer system. So we do DocuSign here. I know a lot of people use another system for their digital signatures, but really making the process as clean and simple as possible. And in doing that, also creating an effective, efficient platform that both buyers and sellers can rely on. For example, one of the things we do out here when we get buyers and we've looked through the open market and what's available and we haven't found anything that satisfies them, we will write letters to 1,000 homes or however many homes that we can find in the area that fit what they're looking for. And we will send those people a letter and follow up with the door knock until we initiate a conversation. And a lot of times that conversation is they're not interested in selling, but we have had a lot of success in generating that business for our buyer and thus for ourselves. So leveraging and not sitting and waiting for business. From a listing side, one of the things we do is we're very proactive and we spend a lot of money in our analytics in our database. So after somebody signs a listing with us, we target people we think are most likely to want to buy that home, and we proactively recruit them to come get that, be aware of that listing, and to hopefully put an offer in and purchase the listing that we have. And we've been very successful using that tool. And these are things that people with access to Zillow and Trulia and basically anyone with an internet connection, the level of sophistication and intricacy that the agents are allowed to do now because we're not spending so much time finding the homes and doing basic research on them. I encourage my clients to do that on their own accord so I can focus my efforts on what they're really trying to accomplish, which is either buy or sell a property.
And Matthew, let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend and they're in another state and they want to sell their home. Now, obviously, with your experience and with Keller Williams, you could obviously look up an agent and do a referral, but from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs?
Yeah, well, I'd start in the areas that you either currently live or the areas that you're planning on moving, and find out the top 2 or 3 agents and try to go to one of those open houses that those agents attend. And that'll tell you a couple things. One, is the agent actually holding their own open house? That could be a key indicator if you want to deal directly with the agent. A lot of times in my market, you'll get a listing on a large property and all you're dealing with is the assistance of the larger agent. That may not be a right fit for everyone and that may not be applicable to every market. I'm aware of that. But making sure that the agent is there, see how they present the house. Don't tell them quite yet that you're interested maybe in finding an agent, and just see how they conduct themselves, as you can see that as a representation of how they would present your home. From there, I would contact the 2 or 3 agents you like the best and sit down and have a talk with them. I like clients that are looking for someone to work with for the rest of their lives, to someone that they can trust and build a relationship with. There are a lot of people that just think they need an agent right away, but if it were me and I was selecting an agent, I'd want to find somebody I could really just count on. So whenever I needed something, that's the person that I call and I trust. Once you've established that, I think you're in a win-win situation, because as agents we work for free until we accomplish our client's goal. So for us to be in that position, have the buyer or seller, whoever it is, be able to select an agent that way, we'll give them a couple of options, and when they do choose someone, it'll probably be a really good fit.
Excellent. And obviously, Matthew, you're based out of the Beverly Hills, California area. If somebody's in that general area and they need real estate services or they're looking for a real estate agent, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
Yeah, well, I'd love anybody who is thinking about moving out to Los Angeles or even thinking about anything regarding real estate in California to go to kaserealestate.com. That's KASE realestate.com. And that's just a basic website. You'll see what we're about. You'll see what kind of properties we represent. We're currently updating it as we've had some new large transactions and some additions to our team, including the expansion into Beverly Hills. And one of the things that people can count on from us is that we'll be very straightforward and we'll be very meticulous in how we handle each client and their needs. So even if people are just looking to get a better understanding of what's possible here, they can always reach me both by email and by my cell phone.
Excellent. Well, Matthew, obviously want to thank you for taking time to come here today and share your professional real estate experience with all of our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Matthew, you can obviously go to his site, like he said. Also, below this interview, we'll have a link to his site and any other contact information we have, so you can reach out and see how Matthew can help you with your real estate needs. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.